Thank you for have the chance to give you an update on TeamViewer. Just to give you an idea what we do as a reminder, so we connect computers, devices, people around the world. We establish connections between all operating systems, all types of devices in any country of the world, and we have a global router network to support that. That means you can actually use TeamViewer to connect devices and people for very, very different use cases. Our company vision is to connect anyone, anytime, anything that's out there for any purpose. So it's really a connectivity platform that we have built over the past years. It's 12 years now that the company is in business, and we've broadened the use cases, and I come to that. Of course, that leads to very exotic use cases and customer situation, like in this picture. That's just one example where TeamViewer is connecting to astronauts in space to collect and monitor health data so that a doctor down on Earth can actually monitor the health status of astronauts. It's just one example. We also have cases where there's controlling of fish farms, just helping other people on the computer, B2C applications between grandma and grandchild. So many, many use cases that we have. I think important to give you some numbers, some stats where we are. We've been able to grow to 1.8 billion installed devices over the last 12 to 13 years. The software is free, and therefore people download the software, and it's a huge viral effect, which is the basis of success for TeamViewer. We have then been able to convert this into active endpoints, really active users, more than 300 million active users by now. As we speak, 40 million plus connections at any point in time globally. Over time, we have been able to monetize this free user base with the software. Now we're sitting at 570,000 plus paying customers for the software. Can be very small customers, few people, to large enterprises. We're operating at an EBITDA margin of roughly 55 to 60%, depending how you look at it, with the migration to subscription, which I'm going to talk about. And we've now well over 200 million in revenues or in billings. And growing very, very nicely. 700 people based out of Göppingen, headquartered in Germany, with offices in APAC and in the Americas. Where do we go from here? We believe there is huge growth opportunity for this business along 3 dimensions. Number one is the country rollout. International rollout of the business is very important. We are selling our product in 200 markets. We have business in 200 markets, although we have no offices there. But we believe if we go more local, and if we open an office and hire local management teams and have local marketing and local sales, there's a much, much bigger potential in these core markets that we're present in. Secondly, the vertical axis, really moving up the customer segment. The business started in small and medium enterprises, or small and medium businesses, I should say. Really small managed service providers helping their customers. We've grown up that chain. We are now also serving large enterprises like large banks, like pharma companies, insurers, who use that product in very different use cases, and we want to do more of that. We launched a new brand for this, which is called TeamViewer Tensor, with many more new functionalities, really enterprise ready. So that was an important step during this year. And then lastly, the last dimension is really the use cases. And I'm going to talk about it. Really getting from remote support into many more applications for many more types of devices in different situations. And I'm going to talk about that a little bit. At the same time, while we're growing in these 3 dimensions, we also changed our business model. And Marco was mentioning that we had a perpetual license model in the past where you buy a license and you're then able to use it for as long as you want. And you can update to new software versions once a year. We've changed that recently, and we are now a subscription company. Also, we invest in infrastructure. We need this global scale and the global router network, and we're hiring talent and have strengthened the leadership team. The use cases, very clearly, with the device growth all around the world, there is more home working, there is IoT, there is sensoring, there is remote control, there's augmented reality. All of these cases want to be supported by a remote connectivity solution, and that's essentially us. So it has grown from a single use case on the left side to really a platform for different kinds of services. One example, IoT. Why is it growing so nicely? Why is it so important? It's really connecting the offline world and having data connectivity between offline devices, between production facilities, smart buildings, and so forth. It took a while, I think, to really take off. You needed the newest devices to have operating systems that would support IoT. Now with all the IoT gateways, it's much easier to also connect legacy devices, and that's where we also play. Another example is called TeamViewer Pilot. Here we combine our remote support capabilities with augmented reality and carry remote support to the offline world. So it's really meant to be able to have an expert sitting somewhere in the back office helping a field technician out there doing maintenance work by pointing him to the right dialers and the right controls and the right repair steps using our solution. Important, the business model, as I said, we started with a perpetual license model. We've moved that to subscription, some learnings. It was a very quick journey for us. I think what is very, very important if you start that journey is you have to have a great product, a great brand, and high customer loyalty. So although customers were paying once, they were repeatedly using our product and therefore very loyal and very sticky. Based on that and the viral effect, we then tested subscription in some markets, started roughly 2 years ago, to really understand the commercial model, the pricing, the buying preferences of customers. And once we cracked the code on this one and had the right formula on pricing, we then acted pretty aggressively. So we moved the whole company roughly within 15 months. I'm going to show you a picture. And then, of course, once you moved and migrated all the customers and have changed your offering, you need to also change the processes in the company, become retention-oriented, and upsell, cross-sell oriented rather than this annual new software cycle. This is how it looked like. It started in June 17, with 23% of billings on subscription. The rest was on perpetual. Those were all the pilot countries. And we've then very aggressively moved the company. We are now in October. I think 98% of our billings in October are now subscription. And we will mostly be done by the end of the year. So very rapid and very profitable transition that we've done, very little negative effect on our growth rates. We are typically able to generate 50 to 70% annual subscription billings compared to the original license price, which I think is very healthy and also drives profitability to 55–60%, as I mentioned at the beginning. The other good piece, if you have a very sticky product and customers are very loyal, your churn rate is very low. Our churn rate is below 10%. And it's also compensated even. So the volume churn, customers leaving us, are compensated by new purchases of customers because customers typically use our product more after a certain period of time. They have more use cases. They need more capacity. They grow themselves. And therefore, very nicely in our business, the churn is compensated by expansion billing, which means the cohorts, if you look at certain cohorts, they actually are at least staying at 100%, if not growing to 102%. We also had significant new customer inflow because the subscription model was more attractive to customers, and we migrate old customers. And therefore, we have this huge increase in recurring billings over the last 15 months. And with this, now we are a subscription company. TeamViewer 14 is only available as subscription. It's the product we just launched. It's combining all the features that I just mentioned, augmented reality, IoT, all of that is in there, and customers sign up for it in a subscription model. Thank you very much.